That'll do again. Got another story here. Going back to the Bibby Stockholm again. Now, I have done a couple of stories in which have been related to the Bibby Stockholm, involving people getting arrested for activities that they've been getting up to whilst on shore. And I may have also mentioned in one of my videos about the individual who hung himself. Now, I haven't done a specific video on that topic because, to be honest with you, I felt it was a bit suspicious, and the whole suicide angle to me didn't seem quite right, especially based with my own experience and understanding of what people from those sorts of parts of the world are like. Um, Now, not long after that, there was a report that Bibby Stockholm had been having nightly fights, um, and it's been like almost like, I believe, a war zone on there at times, which again is, to me, is, with my experience of going to Iraq and Afghanistan, I find that absolutely not unsurprising whatsoever. It's just par for the course for those parts of the world. Now, the stories come out again today, which I'm going to look through here. I've only had a quick flick at the very start of it, and again, it's about Bibby Stockholm. I'll read you the main headline, and then it'll give you a sort of idea of where it's coming from. So, fears grow of sectarian violence between Sunni and Shia Muslim migrants of Bibby Stockholm, as authorities are told prayer sessions should be segregated. For those of you who don't know, Shia and Sunni are different sects of Islam. Um, don't get me wrong, I'm not like a deep philosopher or understanding of it, but I think my understanding of it is who, after Muhammad apparently died, there was a schism in the Islamic world between who should take charge. Should it be, I believe it was Muhammad's son? Should he become the new head of the religion, or should it be the head imam at the time? And I believe that's where the split separated. And also, when we hear things, but again, I mean, it's like Protestants and Catholics to a certain degree, and Orthodox Christians, and there is quite a lot. But even still, like especially with Protestants, you have a lot of branching off from Protestants. You have, like, say, Presbyterians, Church of England, Church of Norway, blah blah blah. Like, you have all these different sects of it, where you have the same with Islam as well. So even though somebody might be a Sunni or a Shia, there are multiple different ways of doing that. Because my understanding is, as well, is every mosque is its own head. They don't have an organised structure in Islam, as far as I'm aware. So when you hear about these people saying I'm a spokesperson for the Muslim Council of Britain, it means absolutely nothing, because every single mosque is its own responsibility in effect, and the imam there is the head of that sect of Islam. Um, but also things like very, very important things which we get told about. We had those protests at schools about teachers showing pictures of Muhammad or drawings potentially depicting Muhammad. And that's Shias who don't like that, but sorry, Sunnis, I believe, who don't like that. But Shias, I believe, are okay with it, with pictures of Muhammad. If you go to Iran today, if you was to get a fly to Tehran, get off the plane, leave the airport, go to the local market, you'll be able to buy pictures of Muhammad on the market, and they will tell you this is a depiction of Muhammad. So it's not as cut and dried as people make out with a lot of the complaints about that we hear in the West from Islam. So let's crack a lacking on with this anyway. Officials should consider providing separate prayer rooms for Sunni and Shia Muslims living on the Bibby Stockholm to avoid sectarian clashes, a government report has found. Well, this is what people have been talking about for years. People like me, and I've been called racist and bigoted for this. These sects can't get along, and we are going to end up with huge problems on our streets. It wasn't. I think it was about a year ago. There was a Muslim man in Scotland. I think it was Edinburgh, who got murdered because on Twitter he posted it was something like wishing a Merry Easter or a Merry Christmas to my Christian neighbours, or words to the effect of. And somebody drove from, I think it was Blackburn or Birmingham, or drove all the way up to Scotland just to kill him, because they didn't like the particular sect that he was from, and that he was saying something like that. He was saying that words to those effects. So this is the issue that we are getting. We're bringing over the world's problems. So when you see countries like I don't know, Syria, where they've had the rise of the Islamic State, that is what we have got coming in our future. That is exactly what is going to happen here. You know, it's not the country that makes these things; it's the people and the ideologies that those people have that make these crazy groups. Um, and they're also very tribal as well in those parts of the world, and that is something that we in the West have left behind a long time ago. Um, but we are starting to see come back here again. Bad times for us, as far as I'm concerned. The split between the two main sects of Islam is a major cause of conflict in the Middle East and can lead to unrest at sites where migrants are being housed in the UK, according to the Home Office Equality Impact Assessment. Well, the thing is as well, like I was saying before at the beginning about that guy who topped himself on the Bibby Stockholm, I personally, and I've no evidence to back this up, but I suspect he was murdered. I wouldn't be surprised if we find out in the coming weeks and months this what's being told about here, something's happened. Saying I bet either in the prayer room or while they've been having dinner or something like that, and they followed him back to his room at night or waited till it was lights out and they've gone in and they've killed him and tried to make it look like a suicide. That's my personal opinion. I have no evidence to back that up other than my gut feeling and my own intuition and experience of travelling the world. But that's what I think actually has happened. The document says that this can cause adverse behaviours. Well, that's a load of crap. And consideration should be given to separate worship areas. No, this is what I've said in other videos. This is the infantilisation of people. They are grown adults. If they cannot get on and be civil to each other, then they are not a fit for our. This should be a test for them, really. And if they can't get on in doing something as simple as praying and tolerate other people, gone. Bye bye. Leave the country. Do not pass go. Do not collect £200. Do not return. Don't want to see you again. That is what I think the policy should be. You know, this is a golden opportunity to view and assess these people. What are they doing? They're trying to micromanage their lives. It's just insane. It's sycophants. Sycophants in the civil service. They can't see these people could be getting attacked. These rule makers and these decision makers could be getting attacked by these people, and afterwards they blame themselves instead of blaming the individuals. That's sort of mental illness these people have got, in my opinion, that are making these decisions, and it's destroying our country. A separate report on RAF Scrampton in Lincolnshire warns of tensions resulting from the Sunni Shia divide and says segregated on-site faith and worship rooms are being made available. Footage has emerged of fights breaking out between asylum seekers in the canteen in RAF Wethersfield, a former base in Essex. I mean, with that as well, you only need to go to a cosmopolitan part of any major city. Like where my mum and dad live, they live in Blackpool, and there's a road down there called Central Drive, and it goes straight. If you leave Blackpool Tower, walk down the back of Coral Island, and just keep going forward past the joke shop. If you've been to Blackpool, you'll know what I mean. With a big picture of the Chucky doll on the side of it. That's Central Drive down there. And I absolutely, I'm not joking when I say the amount of times that riot vans have been down there because the Kurds and the Turks have been having machete fights in the street is unbelievable. They just and Eastern Europeans as well, just at each other's throats all the time. It is a war zone down there. One asylum seeker said there had been nightly fights at the base. Yeah, there has been. Of course there will. There always will be. A second, and because this is the problem. These people have blood feuds as well. And this is the thing with tribalism. So it might be a case of your great grandfather or somebody from your tribe, because it's all to do with family names and things like that, came to my district and stole a goat from us. So we've never forgiven you for that. It is that petty, by the way. There was actual gunfights that were happening in Afghanistan when I was there, which were over goats getting stolen by previous generations. It's, you know, this is what people don't get. They have actual blood feuds. You know, things that are from we would consider to be from the medieval period, and they're bringing that to the UK or wider Europe. You know, or America, if that's where you're from. A second, a 19-year-old from Iran, said the dangerous conditions had left him feeling scared. He told ITV, why is somebody from Iran coming into the country illegally? That country isn't. There's no need for him to be a refugee from Iran. It's not a hellhole. It's not at war. It's not in turmoil or civil collapse or anything like that. It's quite a stable and reasonably prosperous country with a fairly decent standard of living there. He told ITV News, inside the camp, dangerous because most nights there is fighting another nationality, another language and another people. There is security, but they can't control things. because there are many people inside here. There is no safety. I am scared in here. It's dangerous. Well, isn't it funny how this is what the so-called racist far right have been talking about for years, saying you get all these people from different parts of the world, and all they're going to do is none of them can talk to each other. They all speak foreign languages, and they have different cultures and practices. They're all going to fight with each other. And that's exactly what's happening in these camps. It's almost like you can predict the future, isn't it? Just by observing people in other parts of the world. If you look at a country like, I don't know, let's say Sierra Leone, and you look at what's going on there and the different tribes of people that are living there and go, oh, look, all those people don't get on. Oh, look, they've got child slavery there and drug smuggling, and they're involved in hacking people up with machetes, and they've got all these gangs fighting with each other over resources. Oh, I wonder what will happen if we bring them to the UK. They're not going to carry on doing that. They're going to see how we live and they're going to be completely enlightened. No, they're not. What they're going to do is carry on living exactly how they've done in the home country. It's madness to think that anything will change. And this is the hubris, the absolute hubris of the people who are pushing for this sort of mass immigration into our countries. I'm getting to the point now where I think it's being done intentionally to destabilise the West. I genuinely believe that now. The first migrants arrived at RAF Wethersfield in July, and it currently holds 430 people, with plans for up to 1,700 at the site. Well, it's just going to be carnage, isn't it? There's going to end up being full-blown riots happening there. But to be honest with you, I'd rather it happen there than happen in streets, in hotels and that, and spilling out into the local area. Another source who has access to asylum seekers at the base said they had been made aware of numerous fights and disagreements and witnessed cuts and bruises sustained from fights. Nobody's been killed yet, if I'm honest with you. One person's injuries were so bad they had to be taken from Broomfield Hospital to Chelmsford to have stitches, it is claimed. Earlier this month, an asylum seeker died on board the Bibby Stockholm in a suspected suicide. Well, now they're saying suspected suicide. I believe at the time all the reporting was it was an actual suicide. Now it's saying it's suspected, so we're already seeing the language start to change now. I think the media were quick to jump on that just to try and show us just how racist and brutal we are and how horrible we are to all these people in the Bibby Stockholm. They're going to end up with egg on the face with it. It's going to, like I say, in my opinion, it's going to turn out that the guy was murdered, probably assaulted in his private areas as well, I imagine. They'll probably find he has internal injuries in the lower half of his body, and they'll probably find DNA evidence in there as well, because that's very normal in them parts of the world for them to do that. And it's just going to, and all these pro-refugee people and all like the ITV, Sky News, BBC News reporters who were trying to give us all the bleeding heart story and tell us how horrible and racist and homophobic and everything else that we are. But they won't. They'll just report it as fact and they'll just move on from it and forget about it. And that's the problem with them, because they're so ideologically driven that they get they've got blinkers on, like horse blinkers for it. Earlier this month, an asylum seeker, he was also recently named as Leonard Faruka, a 27-year-old Albanian who crossed the channel in a small boat last summer. I don't care. Genuinely, that is my opinion with that. I don't actually care where he's from. I don't care how he got to the country. He shouldn't be here. He should have been gone. And really, if they'd got rid of him quicker, that he wouldn't have died. Mr. Faruka's sister, Jola Dushku, claimed he was being treated like an animal on the vessel prior to his death, the Telegraph reports. He's been treated like an animal. He's got a bed. He's got a roof over his head. He's getting fed 3 meals a day, and he's allowed to come and go as he pleases. How's that being treated like an animal? No, what they're saying is he's not getting his council house, and he's not getting all his benefits, and he's not getting a British passport, which is what they actually want, and his mobile phone, and his grants to open up a barber shop like they all do. Because that's how they get them barber shops, by the way. You see these sweet shops and barber shops and all these sorts of takeaways all on the road that suddenly pop up everywhere. That's because they get money for that. They get given grants for it. And they don't have to pay it back. And if they choose to shut down the business and say they want to become a plumber, they'll get all the training paid for as well, and all the tools bought for them, and the van bought for them. They get everything, and we get nothing. And this is why our country is absolutely skint, because we are paying for the rest of the world to move over here and extract wealth from us. Other men living on the vessel last week said that he was screaming very loudly at 3 a.m. for 15 minutes and could hear banging on the wall of the cabin. That sounds like he's getting attacked to me. Miss Dushku said, when I spoke with him, that was my tablet, by the way. When I spoke with him last time, he told me that the conditions on the boat were not bad, but they were treated by the guards like animals. Well, leave then. You can go home. My brother, when he arrived in the UK, gave the UK Home Office the address of our relatives in London. They were contacted by the police, who told them what had happened. Yes, there you go. He's got family living in the UK and he thinks he's got a right to come over here. You don't. And this is the problem that I have with our immigration system. And what's running wrong with it for so many years is that they've created this impression that we have that concept of chain migration. So people use somebody living in this country as an anchor point to try and latch onto and move over here. It's wrong. That should be completely disregarded. I don't care about somebody from another country's right to family life here. Not my problem. When your family moved over here, they accept that they are leaving their life behind when they move. And if that's that big of an issue for you, don't come. Go away. Go back home. If your family miss you that much, leave. According to our relatives who are in touch with the police, Leonard that night at 11 p.m. in the evening had some problems and was calmed down by the security guard. At 3 a.m. he was found dead. We do not have more details about how he died. Mr. Faruku, who was born just outside Durrës, Albania's second largest city, had come to the UK with the dream of finding work and securing indefinite leave to remain. His sister said, well, it's not my problem. She said that the loss of both their parents, but particularly their mother, had changed her brother's behaviour in recent times. Yeah, it's very sad. Very, very sad. And you know what? There's lots of people over here that have that problem as well. And you know what help they get from the state? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I have had no help since coming out of the army. I've faced bankruptcy more than once. I've had unbelievable amounts of legal fees for things that you won't imagine. Have I had any help? No, I haven't. Nothing at all. I was in hospital very, very sick. Very, very sick. Did I get any help for that? No, none at all. Lost my job. So what? Not our problem, fella. You know, even though I'm a veteran, served 7 years, been to Afghanistan and Iraq, have I had a sniff of help? No, nobody cares. So why should I have sympathy for these people coming from other parts of the world when my country won't even help me? Why should we be helping other people? And by the way, I'm not saying that I should be getting help. If that's the way it is, that's the way it is. But you know what? It should be across the board. No help for anybody. And if you're not wanted here by the government, it should be end of. You're gone. The first asylum seekers were brought back to the barge, moored at the port in Portland in October. 2 months after he was evacuated following the discovery of potentially fatal Legionella bacteria in the water supply, campaigners have claimed a man on the vessel tried to take his own life earlier this year. Yeah, well, again, I don't care. And like I said in that video that I did about a week ago, some of the guys on there are getting involved in very serious sexual crimes. And I think these campaigners, I think we need to start bringing in new laws that when you have these activists and campaigners who are bringing these people over, they should start getting held personally accountable. And same with judges who are ruling that foreign criminals stay in the country who are going to commit further crimes. I think we need to start seeing that now because it's getting beyond a joke, in my opinion. If they're not willing to deport them, then so be it. But we need to start holding people accountable. And I think we need to start with the campaigners and the activist judges who are allowing these criminals and these nonces to stay in our country. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. A little bit of a shorter video than usual. If you've enjoyed that or found it interesting or intriguing, please like, subscribe, put a comment below, and I'll speak to you later. Bye-bye.